Imagine a world where the education system doesn't teach you how to get rich. Peculiar, isn't it? Yet that's the world most of us inhabit, a world where traditional education often overlooks financial literacy. This is the world as seen by Robert Kiyosaki, the man behind the revolutionary book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Growing up, Kiyosaki had two father figures. His biological father, an educated man who, despite his academic accomplishments, struggled financially. Our poor dad. Then there was his friend's father, an entrepreneur who lacked formal education but was financially savvy. Our rich dad. These two fathers, with their contrasting perspectives on money and success, shaped Kiyosaki's understanding of wealth. It's from this vantage point that he challenges the status quo, questioning the effectiveness of our education system that emphasizes traditional subjects rather than practical financial skills. So, that's the stage for our story. A young boy, two fathers, and a lifetime of lessons. Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two fathers, each teaching him different lessons about money. His biological father, the poor dad, was a highly educated man holding a PhD and a secure government job. However, despite his academic achievements and job security, he struggled financially all his life. Poor dad believed in the traditional path to success. Get a good education, find a steady job, and save money for retirement. He was a firm advocate of working hard, climbing the corporate ladder and playing it safe. On the other hand, there was the rich dad, the father of Robert's best friend. He didn't boast of academic degrees, yet he was a wealthy entrepreneur who understood the rules of money. Rich Dad believed that a formal education was insufficient for achieving financial success. Instead, he emphasized the importance of financial literacy and learning how to make money work for you. He taught Robert that it's not about how much money you earn, but how much money you keep. Rich Dad's philosophy revolved around owning assets, such as real estate and businesses that generate income. He viewed houses not as assets, but as liabilities, explaining that they drain money from your pocket in the form of mortgages, taxes, and maintenance costs. He stressed the importance of investing in assets that put money into your pocket, like rental properties or stocks. While poor dad was stuck in the cycle of earning and spending, rich dad broke free from this cycle by investing and creating wealth. Poor dad worked for money, while rich dad had money work for him. Their contrasting mindsets and practices painted two distinct pictures of financial management for young Robert, and so Robert was caught between two worlds, two philosophies. But which path would he choose? Rich Dad taught Robert not just about money, but about life. Indeed, the lessons imparted by Rich Dad were invaluable and transcended the sphere of finance. One of these profound lessons was understanding the difference between assets and liabilities. Rich Dad explained to Robert that an asset is something that puts money in your pocket, while a liability takes money out. He illustrated this using the example of a home. While most people consider their homes an asset, Rich Dad viewed it as a liability, given the ongoing expenses for maintenance, taxes, and mortgage payments. On the other hand, a rental property that generates income would be considered an asset. This perspective shift was a groundbreaking revelation for Robert, challenging the conventional wisdom that home ownership equates to financial security. Another key lesson from Rich Dad was the importance of financial literacy. He emphasized that formal education, while valuable, often fails to teach the fundamental skills required to build and manage wealth. Rich Dad advocated for understanding financial statements, the power of compound interest, and the nuances of taxes and investments. This focus on financial literacy underscored the significance of self-education in achieving financial independence, a concept that was largely overlooked in Robert's school curriculum. Lastly, Rich Dad instilled in Robert the courage to take risks. He encouraged him to venture into businesses, to learn from failures, and to persist in the face of adversity. This lesson was a stark contrast to poor Dad's approach, which was to play it safe and seek job security above all else. Rich Dad's teachings were not just about wealth creation, but were also about cultivating a mindset of abundance, resilience, and continuous learning. They were about breaking free from societal norms and daring to chart one's own path. These lessons shaped Robert's perspective on money and ultimately his life. They empowered him to take control of his financial destiny and to step out of the rat race. And through his book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki shares these lessons with us, inspiring countless others to embark on their journey towards financial freedom. The mindsets of poor dad and rich dad were as different as night and day. Imagine two circles, one filled with fear and the other with abundance. Poor dad lived in the fear circle, perpetually worried about running out of money and hence always chasing it. His mindset was rooted in scarcity, and he believed that to earn more he had to work harder. This belief kept him running in what we often refer to as the rat race. The rat race is an endless, self-defeating pursuit where one is constantly chasing financial security but never really achieving it. It's like being on a hamster wheel, tirelessly running but going nowhere. This race is not just about money, it's about societal norms, expectations, and the traditional career path we're told to follow. Go to school, get a good job, save money, retire. On the other hand, rich dad lived in the abundance circle. His mindset was rooted in plenty. He knew that money was not something to be chased, but rather something to be attracted. Rich dad believed in making money work for him, not the other way around. He saw opportunities where others saw obstacles. He wasn't afraid to take risks, to invest, to fail, and to learn from those failures. This mindset was a game changer for Robert Kiyosaki. He realized that to step off the hamster wheel, to break free from the rat race, he had to think differently about money. He had to stop chasing it and start attracting it. He had to stop working for money and start making money work for him. He had to shift from a mindset of scarcity to one of abundance. This shift was not easy. It required courage, determination, and a willingness to defy societal norms. But Robert knew that the choice was clear. If he wanted to achieve financial freedom, he had to adopt rich dad's mindset. The choice was clear for Robert. To break free from the rat race, he had to adopt rich dad's mindset. But knowing is not enough. Robert had to put these lessons into action. So what did Robert do next? He took the complex financial concepts he learned from his rich dad and broke them down into actionable steps. He didn't just learn about money, he started making it work for him. One of the first things he did was to create side hustles. He understood that relying on a single income source, like a typical 9-to-5 job, wasn't going to make him wealthy. So he started looking for opportunities to earn extra money. He sold comic books, he started a photocopying business, he did whatever he could to bring in additional income, but Robert didn't stop there. He also understood the power of investing in real estate. Remember when we talked about assets and liabilities? Well, Robert knew that owning rental properties could become a significant asset. He started small, buying a single rental property. Over time, as he learned more about the real estate market, he expanded his portfolio. He didn't just own a house, he owned properties that generated income. And perhaps most importantly, Robert worked on building his financial intelligence. He read books, attended seminars, and constantly sought out new information. He understood that financial literacy wasn't something you could learn once and forget about. It was an ongoing process. But Robert's journey wasn't always smooth. There were setbacks, there were failures, and there were times when he questioned whether he was on the right path. But he didn't let these challenges deter him. Instead, he saw them as opportunities to learn and grow. And over time, Robert saw the fruits of his labor. His side hustles grew, his real estate investments paid off, and his financial intelligence allowed him to make smart decisions about his money. He was no longer just learning about money, he was actively managing it. But knowing is not enough. Robert had to put these lessons into action. And that's exactly what he did. He didn't just understand the game of money, he played it, and he played it well. Robert was no longer a passive player in the game of money, he was now in control. So, what does this all mean for you? Well, for starters, it's a wake-up call, a nudge to shift your perspective on money. You see, Rich Dad, Poor Dad wasn't just about financial literacy, it was about financial liberation. It was about breaking free from the shackles of societal norms and daring to carve a path less trodden. It taught me that money isn't the root of all evil, ignorance is. It showed me that the true measure of wealth isn't in your bank account, but in your financial intelligence. And most importantly, it made me realize that the biggest risk isn't in starting a business or investing in real estate, but in doing nothing. So I challenge you, take control of your finances, invest in your future, equip yourself with the knowledge to make your money work for you. Because, as Rich Dad said, don't work for money, make it work for you. And with that, I challenge you to take the first step towards your financial freedom.